It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life. From the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators. The famous and not so famous. The controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here is Douglas Coleman.
Howdy-howdy-o, hey-hey-hey-hee-hee-ha. Welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show. It's me, Douglas Coleman. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Danielle Taylor is with us today. Danielle is a singer-songwriter, musician, self-taught pianist, and really has lived the life of the artist struggling to succeed in this crazy music business. She was homeless a couple times, living in her car. Now she has found success with her music, with her passion, and I'm excited that she's here. We've got 3 of her tracks to play, so stay tuned for that. Before we get to Danielle, since this was a music show, I wanted to play a few tracks from previous guests who have been on the show. And I tell you, it was very difficult to just pick 4, because that's all we had time for. We've had so many great musicians on this show, and I'm going to do a music showcase probably later in the year and just do all music of the, greatest hits, greatest hits of the Douglas Coleman Show kind of thing. But we had time to do 4, so I picked 4. We've got If I Wait by Sara P, followed by Half Light, Half Sound by Acme Giants, then Butterfly by Halie Loren, and finally, The Never-Ending Pageant by Colin Clyne. I thought there was a good mix of, styles and genres for these 4 tracks. So we'll play those first, then a short commercial break, and then the interview with Danielle Taylor.
And if I wait for you to say, this is what you want, baby, I'd be waiting on forever, but I don't have the time. Spent it all on you, and what you still can't say. And if I wait, the weather's getting cold, and this ain't what I want. But lately I've been feeling warmer here when I'm alone. 'Cause I ain't got the time. Spent it all on you, and what you still can't say. Each night I'ma sleep a little better, and each day I'll be a little more together. And your ego will be alright, it won't keep you awake. I won't be lonely 'cause I'm keeping all the loving that I gave. I'm giving it back to me 'cause I need it more. And I'm sending all of your well wishes out the door. You've done me in this time, and I just can't wait. No, I just can't wait. Yeah, I know I'll be waiting on what ain't gonna come, 'cause it's impossible to give you everything that you want. Yeah, I know it's not the first time that I said I was done, but it's the first time that I'm taking back the loving that I gave. And if I wait for you to say, this is what you want, baby, I'd be waiting on forever, and I don't have the time. Spent it all on you, and what you still can't say. Each night I'ma sleep a little better, and each day I'll be a little more together. And your ego will be alright, it won't keep you awake. I won't be lonely 'cause I'm keeping all the loving that I gave. And if I wait, and if I wait, and if I won't be lonely 'cause I'm keeping all the loving that I.
my shoes. She said, good times when you're paying your dues. I thought we'd leave the place in total ruins. No one seems to notice what we're doing. Why she hanging by the soundboard stewing? She told them, have lights, have sound. Ooh, she told them, have lights, have sound. Manhattan had the industry heads. Anyway, that's what the management said. Now here's a fella that can make or break you. Call me right away in case they take you. Tough, you got the mix that wouldn't wake you. They told them, have lights, have sound. Ooh, they told them, have lights, have sound. The headliner laid an egg in Boston. They flipped the bill when we landed in Austin. Damn shame when the openers lost him. Have lights, have sound. Have lights, have sound. Have lights, have sound. We told them, have light, have sound. Ooh, we told them, have lights, have sound. Ooh, we told them, have lights, have sound. Ooh, we told them, have lights, have sound. We told them, have lights, have sound.
I never felt so old, so ready to fold it all down, so at home on the cold hard ground. I'm not chasing the sun no more. How I love that light, but it don't help when the nights get long. I'm too tired to right all the wrongs I must have done to end up so far gone. But my sweet friend, the angel, you're floating on the wind. Tell me this is not the end. And you say that I just gotta play this game and leave it alive. And someday, I'll look back and see all the pain and fear was a lie. You gotta die a while to come back a butterfly. When it comes to change, all I know is to rage against. It don't matter the cage I'm in, it still feels like a home to me. But then the rain comes down, and I'm afraid that I'll drown in you. Cover my hair, but it's loud and clear. There's only one way out. And oh, cruel world, you break me out of all my shells. I guess you know me well. And you say that I just gotta play this game and I'll live it alive. And someday, I'll look back and see all the pain and fear was a lie. You gotta die a while to come back a butterfly. Reaching for the wind, longing to begin again. Butterfly.
Fire in my soul. Give me one more try on those songs that you've given to me. Sing them to my children evermore. And I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm tired of never-ending pageants, Messiah. Drop down my line, I'll never let of this never-ending pageant story. I can do this anymore.
You're listening to Mr. Smooth and Savvy right here on the Douglas Coleman Show. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Acclaimed author of Garden, Jane Yates brings you the first book in a new trilogy, Octopus Pirate, a story of a foundling who has unusual talents, such as the ability to communicate with octopuses. As a baby, he was washed up on an island off the Scottish mainland. An eccentric former nun who lives alone with cats brings him up. He joins a circus and narrowly escapes plots against him. Flees to Cornwall, builds a replica pirate ship that's also an airship to travel back in time to fight real pirates. Get your copy today from Amazon, only 99 cents.
DJC Music and DJC Productions are pleased to announce a brand new website. We have started a listing website for radio show hosts as well as potential show guests. This is a meeting site where hosts and guests can come together. Show hosts can list their show and types of guests they're interested in booking. Potential guests can list their talents, bio, accomplishments, or anything they feel makes them an interesting radio show guest. There are no recurrent payments, only a one-time $5 listing fee. Your listing will stay up until you decide to cancel. Previous guests of The Douglas Coleman Show are welcome to submit their guest listing free of charge. Go to radiohostsandguests.com. That's radiohostsandguests.com.
Hi there, this is Stuart Epps from the UK, record producer, engineer. You might have heard of me. I've worked with artists from Elton John to Led Zeppelin to Bad Company, Twisted Sister, Robbie Williams, Oasis, many great bands and artists in the past and the present and hopefully in the future. But you can work with me as well. You know, all you got to do is get in touch with me on eppsmusicproductions.com. That's EWPSproductionsmusic.com. And I can help you with your productions and with your recordings. A lot of people do home recordings now, which you can only take so far. Maybe they need a bit of professional help. So get in touch with me and we can sort it out. And thanks for Douglas Coleman for giving me this spot. Thanks a lot. Cheers, bye.
Go listen, download, and subscribe to The Douglas Coleman Show. It's available at the website douglascolemanmusic.com/DCS. Also on iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube. The Douglas Coleman Show is an internationally syndicated talk and music show that features fascinating and sometimes famous guests from all aspects of the entertainment industry. The topics can range from light and fluffy to sober and serious. Our focus is on music artists, but we also feature producers, authors, directors, and even promoters. The Douglas Coleman Show. Sometimes chat, sometimes music, always entertaining. Again, it's available today at the website douglascolemanmusic.com/DCS. You can also connect with them on Facebook at Douglas Coleman Show 1, follow on Twitter at Douglas Coleman 3, and you can even find them on TuneIn Radio. Again, that's the Douglas Coleman Show at the website douglascolemanmusic.com/DCS, iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube, and more. Go listen, download, subscribe, and share with your social networks today.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Okay, please welcome my guest, Danielle Taylor. Hi, Danielle. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. As I said before we started this thing, you'll forgive me. I have a bit of a cold. So I may be clearing my throat a few more times than is probably preferred. But
no problem here.
We'll get through it one way or the other. Your bio is really interesting. You seem to have experienced a lot of the challenges and frustrations that the music business has to offer, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Why don't you give us your background a little bit? I've got Rachel was nice enough to send 3 of your tracks. So
nice.
We'll play a couple of those, probably play all 3. Maybe we'll play one on the way out.
Okay.
So, yeah, just tell us your background a little bit, and then we'll get into your music.
All right, great. Well, so I've been a musician, I guess, technically my whole life, pretty much. I started when I was in 3rd grade-ish, and I played the clarinet. My mom wanted I have 2 sisters, so she wanted all 3 of us to learn to play an instrument. And so I played the clarinet, and I did that for a really long time, and I wanted to sing. I tried to be like in a choir in junior high, but I got sort of pigeonholed into the clarinet thing. At least my view on it. I'm sure a teacher would an adult might have had a different view, but my experience was that I wanted to do something and they were like, you're really good at the clarinet. You should stick with that. And so I did, and I never kind of broke out of my shell, and I never really got going until after I graduated high school. And I still had the clarinet, but I really wasn't passionate about it anymore, and I was kind of lost, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So, and at the same time, I was sort of not loving my home life. There were a lot of rules I didn't agree with. I was a young adolescent, I guess, and I was like, I'm out of here. So the day after I graduated high school, I decided to move out of my parents' house, which wasn't the smartest idea, as I didn't really have a plan. And I ended up couch surfing a lot. And so I ended up moving out to Ventura County, and because I didn't really have anything tying me anywhere. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. So I was like, I'm just going to move. And I moved, and then I met some people who were really supportive of me. And I was like, I want to be a singer. And, they connected me with this Disney producer guy. And he was like, so you have a good voice, but can you do anything besides sing? And I was like, nope, I can play the clarinet. And so he was like, you got to play an instrument, and you need to write songs, because there are like a million pretty voices in the world, and you won't stand out if you don't have your own voice in terms of what you're saying as well. So that was the first time I ever thought like, oh wow, okay, I need to do something else musically. And I tried the guitar first, honestly, and it was awful. It was horrible for me. It was really hard. So I'm a quitter. So I quit. I was like, I'm not doing this. It's too hard. So I had always loved the piano. And I decided to take up the piano. And I've had like, this is the super like Cliff Notes version of my whole life, obviously, but I've had a lot of ups and downs. I've been homeless a total of 3 different times. 2 of those times were because I had this piano, and it's a very loud instrument in an apartment complex. And I was very dedicated to learning it and getting better. So I would play for like 6 hours a day, trying to become a better player and know what I was doing. And that was disruptive to my neighbors. So I was asked very nicely to leave, and then I didn't have a plan. So twice for that, once because I moved out of my mom's house. So I've had a fair amount of ups and downs, but I remained pretty, I guess, optimistic about it, because, you can either worry about the situation you're in, or just find the silver lining. Because if it's a situation you can't really change too much of, you just got to roll with it. So I did that, and I worked with some people who had been in the business before. There were these guys that were part of the band Army of Freshmen like a while ago, and they produced my record. And that's kind of where I learned about song structure. They rearranged the structure of my songs a little bit and kind of helped me tell stories in my songs instead of just trying to be clever, and that was the kind of first, I'm air quoting, you can't see me, but I'm air quoting. It's the first like producing I ever underwent. And then I released it in 2011, that CD, and then I kind of sat on it for like a year. I had a CD release party, and then, we sold out the night because I didn't really do a lot of shows yet. And then I sat on the CD, and I guess one day I was just driving down the road, and I saw like a theater that had a lot of kind of bands come through, like Wilson Phillips and Heart, and kind of bands from, I think that's the 80s, I'm not sure, but from back then, the 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So bands in that era were performing there on a regular basis, and I was like, I wonder if I could perform on a stage like that. So then I just called them, and I was like, hey, I don't care what show you put me on, I just want to be on a big stage. And they were like, well, send us your music. And I sent the one CD I had over, and they were like, oh, we really like you. Do you want to open for Johnny Lang? So that was the first time I got to open for anybody. It was a sold out show. I think it was like 1,500 people or something. And I was super nervous. But it was amazing. And I got addicted to it. And then I'm getting jumbled. My whole life is like all over the map. But I got to do that. And that led to a bunch of other, opening opportunities. And then I got to work with, through a connection, well, not really a connection, but through a convention that I went to near LAX one year. I met Don Grierson, who is I think he's the former SVP of Epic Records. He's credited with like bringing the Beatles over and stuff. And I played him that one record, and he was like, I think you're really good. Here's my card. Like, don't share my number with anybody. Let's talk. So then we decided that he was going to become my mentor, and he would come to these opening shows that I was doing, and he would say, okay, when you do this opening show, think about, your stage presence and your breathing and what songs you're playing. Maybe throw in a cover song so that your crowd can identify with you. Things that were really laser focused for what I wanted to do. And then he, critiqued my songwriting, and he was like, I'm not a musician, but I know how to pick out good songs, work on this one, trash that one, whatever. So it was really great for me. And then the next year I decided, okay, I'm going to quit my full-time job and just do music full time and really go for it and see what I can do. Cause I wasn't really getting anywhere. By then I'd made I don't think I had done it yet. Yeah. So I quit my job, and then I wanted to make another record. And so I crowdfunded with my friends and family and fans and stuff. And I was able to raise enough money to work with this gentleman named Eric Talaba. And then we did a record together. And that one I credit that one for really elevating my game, because I thought I was the bee's knees. I was like, I'm such a good singer. And he was like, yeah, I mean, you're all right. You got some room to grow, which is like devastating, but really important to hear. And so it really made, it humbled me and made me work harder to be better. And it kind of highlighted some of my weaker areas as a singer, so that I knew, oh, okay, I can work on this. This is something I can get better at,
I wanted to ask you about your piano, going back to your story. This was a real piano that you bought? I mean, a real acoustic piano?
Yeah, so I didn't buy it. It was for free on Craigslist, and I paid for like a U-Haul. But yeah, it was an upright it's a 1901 Cable Company upright grand piano. So it's like 6 feet tall.
Oh God.
So it's a huge piano.
And those things weigh a ton.
Yeah.
You didn't think to buy like a nice digital piano that you could use with headphones?
Yeah, no.
That you wouldn't disturb the neighbors?
I was like, I don't have any money. And so I thought, oh, free piano, I don't have any money. But then I somehow scraped together $300 to get the U-Haul to get the piano. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, but I mean, that's what I did. So,
I mean, that's just a funny story because,
yeah.
These days you can get a nice digital piano that you can carry around with you. But okay. Now, at this point, are you signed to a label, or are you still doing indie? Everything?
No. So like, are you talking about like at this point in the story, or like right now today?
Well, right now.
No, I'm completely alone in the world. Boo-hoo.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not signed anywhere. The only people that are helping me out right now is Rachel with Big Hype.
With
so
promotion.
That's it.
Okay. So you don't have a manager?
Nope.
No. Okay. And you're doing it all on your own social media and all
yeah,
that kind of stuff? All right.
It's like a full business. Yeah, which is okay. I mean, I'm sure that at some point because it's not that I've never had offers, for management and stuff. It's just, it's very important to pick the right person. I don't want to just partner up with someone just because I'm desperate and I want to say like, oh, I'm fancy,
Well, no,
I want to make sure it's a good business decision. Yeah.
There's many sleazy people out there that are very anxious to rip off artists.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's stop there. Let's listen to one of your songs. Rachel sent 3. We've got RSVP, A Borrowed Dime, or Is It Okay? Which one do you want to play first?
Well, RSVP is my more upbeat song. The other 2 are ballads.
Okay.
So I would love to start with a more upbeat tune, if you don't mind.
All right. Tell us any story about RSVP.
Yeah, RSVP is a song about life. A lot of my songs are about the big idea of life. And, you know, if you only have one, how are you going to choose to live it? Are you the kind of person that goes to work and hides in your house when you come home and you don't leave? You don't hang out with your friends. You don't have adventures. Or are you the kind of person that's like, life is a party and I'm going to attend. And not only am I attending this party, I'm going to be the life of the party, you know? So that's what the song's about. It's about, if I invited you to the life party, how would you RSVP?
Oh, okay. Well, this is RSVP by Danielle Taylor.
What are you waiting for? What kind of invitation do you need? If I invited you, how would you RSVP? I might be there, but I can't be sure. Don't know what's outside my front door. Oh yes, I'm coming. You can count me in. I'll bring the party. 'Cause you can dance all night, dance if you want. I'm doing your own thing, not a care in the world. Dance all night, dance if you want. I'm making your own rules. You got nothing to prove. Who are you waiting for? Who do you hope is gonna set you free? If I came up to you, how would you react to me? I wish I could, but I'm just not sure. Don't want my heart left on the floor. Oh yes, I'm coming. You can count me in. Where is this party? 'Cause you can dance all night, dance if you want. I'm doing your own thing, not a care in the world. Dance all night, dance if you want. I'm making your own rules. You got nothing to prove. Don't hang up your hat and don't throw in the towel. Don't sit on the wall at the back of the room, looking down at the top of your perfect double knot, disillusioned, feeling all alone. Gotta get out of your head, get yourself out there instead. Do something that is all your own. 'Cause you can dance, you can dance, you can dance. You can dance all night, dance if you want. I'm doing your own thing, not a care in the world. Dance all night, dance if you want. I'm making your own rules. You got nothing to prove. Dance all night, dance if you want. I'm doing your own thing, not a care in the world. Dance all night, dance if you want. I'm making your own rules. You got nothing to prove. Crank the music, can you feel it? Let it in, it's like you're breathing, breathing. Crank the music, can you feel it? Let it in, it's like you're breathing.
Hey, all right. That was nice. I like
Thank
that.
you.
I was just looking at your picture here on Skype while the song was going. Has anybody ever told you that you look a little like Jennifer Grey?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know if I know who that is.
All right. Well, you look like her from the 80s. She's a lot older than you now, but she was in that movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You remember that movie?
I do remember that movie.
She played the sister.
Was she the lady in Dirty Dancing?
Well, Patrick Swayze was the guy in that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it
Yeah,
was
that's
her.
who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, my hair is normally not like that. I wore braids and then I undid it because I like the wavy, beautiful, I have pretty straight hair. So I like to give it a little bit of dimension when I can.
Well, anyway, I thought I'd throw that in because
Well, thank you.
it just, when I'm looking at your picture, immediately I thought of that movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I
nice.
thought, she looks kind of like the sister. Okay. Anyways, yeah, that was very nice. One thing I wanted to ask you, and maybe you can tell people who are aspiring musicians, Are you making a living right now with your music?
Yes.
Or do you have okay.
Yes.
So this is a full-time thing for you. Yeah. What are some of the difficulties about making a living as a music artist? I know they've changed because it used to be if you were successful, you could pretty much make a living selling records, back in the old days before digital download. Nowadays, it seems like that whole thing has changed and people are having other things that they have to do in order to make a living. So what is your take on that?
I agree with that. I mean, that song, actually all 3 songs that you're going to play today are currently on Sirius XM radio. So that's a source of income. They pay fairly well. I don't have any comparisons really too much in terms of, other platforms radio wise that pay. I mean, I'm on Spotify, and I'm sure everyone in the world by now knows that Spotify doesn't really pay too well.
No, they pay a penny per stream for most people.
Right, you get like 0.004 cents per stream. Yeah. So that's a little rough. So definitely, the bulk of my money comes from performances. I perform like 170, like an average of 170. Some years it's like 150, some years it's like 190, but generally it's like 150 shows a year. Wow. And that is my main source of income. And at those shows, in the moment, people still buy CDs. I also have some USBs that I have with like my complete, catalog on them. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly live music, live shows, performances that bring in the money. And I think for any aspiring artist, find a place where you're special and like you're unique and go there, because there are a million musicians trying to make it, so you have to kind of find your own path. You can't swim with the herd, I guess. You have to really just find your own thing and stick to that, and then try to make money doing that, and then that'll support you, at least, if not, kind of shine a spotlight on you and have people, start to pay attention.
Well, I get into this conversation with a lot of different musicians that I've had on the show, and the technology question comes up a lot. It's really a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, now you can do it yourself. You can do everything yourself. Your promotion, if you've got some computer software, you can do all of your recording at home. There's a lot more that can be done without a major label behind you.
Totally, yeah.
On the other hand, there are so many, like you said, there's a lot of people. I think there's just tons more people out there now, because the technology has enabled people to do it themselves. Yeah. Back in the 70s, you couldn't do that. You needed $50,000 worth of recording equipment that took up a whole room, and you needed, there were no outlets for you to promote your music. You needed the major label. So the question really becomes, is there a necessity or a desire to get hooked up with a label? Or do you think realistically you can pretty much do it on your own?
I don't think that if you want to be a mainstream artist, you can do it without a label right now. Even Macklemore, who's, all famous at the moment for being independent, he's not that. I mean, he's got a distribution deal through a major record company, so he still has like ties to a major label, because you need their distribution, and you need their, predominantly you need help in your marketing dollars, because if you want to be on the radio, that's an endeavor, and being on internet radio, that normally doesn't cost too much money, which is like it does, or any, like it didn't cost me anything to get on Sirius XM. They just found me and approached me, and it was perfect, but then you run a digital radio campaign. For example, I ran a digital radio campaign for RSVP, the song we just heard, and and that was like a couple $1,000s. However, I charted nationally with my song. So if you're going to invest that kind of money, you want to make sure you believe in your song. Right. I do think labels are, like I said, important for marketing predominantly, and that's sort of, I mean, I don't work at a label, so I don't 100% know if there are additional benefits, but from what I've researched, read, and discussed with other folks, that seems to be the main thing people that are hoping to be mainstream artists, because, you know, I mean, it's a really expensive game. It's like running a casino. You need investors. You need money to make money, you know? So.
No, it's true. And that's the answer I've received from most of the musicians who are in this game, is that the major labels have lost the ground in terms of production, but they still hold a good piece of the pie when it comes to promotion. In other words, they could get your face and your music on the front page of iTunes.
Right.
Where you would have a tough time doing that as an indie.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you would have to have a song that somehow went viral that you had already put up through, you know, some like a CD Baby or like a TuneCore or some smaller thing. And it would have to explode for iTunes to do that for you. Whereas a lot of songs that are on the radio right now that people are in love with, they're in love with because they've heard 30 times in a day, you know?
Yeah.
And it has a catchy hook or whatever. And they hear it so much, they're like, oh, this is my jam, you know? But there are better songs sometimes out there that don't see that light. And then it's a money thing, you know?
Well, that's true. Let's get to another one of your songs. We've got A Borrowed Dime and Is It Okay? Which one do you want to do next?
So we can do, I think we'll end on Is It Okay? Because it's a very solo, personal song. I mean, they're all personal, but that's a very personal song.
Okay.
So A Borrowed Dime is about being in love and loving the person that you're with. And it's kind of a bunch of different like love stories from different people, you know, in my life. Like some of my fans, a woman has or had breast cancer and had to have a double mastectomy, and it was awful. And you know, her husband stood by her and was amazing, and I just watched them interact, and I was just so like, good job, guys. That's what that is. That's love, you know. Or like my grandparents, you know, my grandfather's 80 plus years old and he's going through dialysis, and his wife, my grandmother, is taking care of him in tremendous ways. And those are kind of like things that aren't always on the, you know, that's like the fine print of love sometimes. And I just think it's amazing. So this song is about, you know, being young in love, being old in love, and just wanting to spend as much time with the person that you love as possible.
All right. Well, this is A Borrowed Dime by Danielle Taylor.
Lying here next to you, sharing your bed, listening to every breath, every little word unsaid. I can't wait till you get up tomorrow. Then I'll have another chance to plead, to beg, to borrow some time. Maybe just one afternoon, some time. Only an hour or two, 'cause we're all living on a borrowed dime. The one thing we can't buy is more time. More time. Watching as you pull away, pull from me. I know the parable, gotta set you free. But I can't wait till I see you tomorrow, 'cause then I'll have another chance to plead, to beg, to borrow some time. Maybe just one afternoon, some time. Only an hour or two, 'cause we're all living on a borrowed dime. The one thing we can't buy is more time. More time. to borrow some time. Maybe just one afternoon sometime. Only an hour or two, 'cause we're all living on a borrowed time. The one thing we can't buy is more time. Maybe one afternoon sometime. Only an hour or two, 'cause we're all living on that borrowed time. The one thing we can't buy is more time. More time. Just a little more time.
Ah, very nice. I like your voice. Your voice
Thank you.
is very, very good. I did want to ask you one thing on your bio that I'd never heard of. Maybe you can tell us about it. It says in 2013 you joined Taxi.
Yes.
What is that? Tell us about that.
Taxi is like the middleman for musicians who want to have their songs licensed in movies and TV and other internet things. So you join Taxi as an artist and you submit. They have all these listings of companies, whatever entities that are looking for specific kinds of songs. And the company will list like, oh, we're looking for these 5 songs that are like these 5 artists or whatever, but we don't want to pay those 5 artists their premiums. We want to pay an unknown artist less money, but the unknown artist doesn't have any money. So they're like, whatever, So then you, the artist, pay a membership fee to be in this group, and you pay per submission so that their idea is that you are careful in choosing what you submit, and then you submit it. And then if the middleman thinks that it's good enough for their client, then they pass it on to their client, and then their client will pay you if their client chooses your music. So that's what it is. And every year they have a convention, and I was only a member for a year, and then I attended as an assistant to, a vocal coach or to another person who had a company, because I still felt that there was value for me personally in attending the convention, but I didn't want to be a member because that organization is predominantly geared towards people who are writing for something, right? So like the music you hear in a reality TV show, that's what those people are writing for. And that's one of the ways that musicians who maybe don't have they're not singers, they don't want to write lyrics, but they have musical, talent. That's when it's awesome to have home equipment, because they can just make something on the fly and then send it off, and then maybe, find a nice return on it because it is just background music in some TV show. So.
Well, it sounds similar to Music X-Ray.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. I don't know if X-Ray has a convention or not, but it's a very similar company.
I don't know that they have a convention. I'm associated with Music X-Ray. I do music reviews, and we have, a submission to put your song on the show through them as well. So
nice.
Yeah, it sounds very similar.
Yeah.
No, I just never heard of them. I guess.
Yeah, they're really nice people. I don't have anything bad to say about them. It didn't work out for me because I write songs, not like 15-second clips for TV,
You don't write for commission. You write from your heart. Yeah.
Right. Yes. That's a nice way to say it. Yes.
So what are you working on now? You playing anywhere? Are you recording, or what are you doing now?
Yeah. So actually on September 11th, I am, and the date I know is a date we all remember. It's not I'm not doing it because of the date. It just happens to be the date I'm doing this. Yeah. I'm recording my newest music, or I'm filming my newest music video for this last song that we'll hear, Is It Okay? Because that is the song that most people are into right now for me. It's the song, it's actually not played the most on the radio, which is fascinating to me. I'm a very happy, outgoing person, and this song for me was yeah, but are you still going to love me if I'm not? Like, if I just break down and cry for a second, is that okay? And that's what the song's about. I'm okay. I'm like a normal I'm fine. Just leave me alone for a second so I can just, gather myself back up and then go out into the world. So that song is, I guess, resonating with more people. And when they come to my shows, they're like, oh, will you play that song? If people haven't heard it before and I just bust it out and I'm like, la, 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 people get emotional and they're like, you should have warned us, so.
It's a real tear-jerker song, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it can be. I think it depends. I think that's the beauty of music. Music it is the soundtrack to our lives, and it fills in whatever you're doing. I read a quote once, and I don't know who this is by, but that said, you listen to the lyrics when you're sad, and you listen to the melody when you're happy. So if something's going on in your life that sucks, this song kind of fills that space. Yeah. So, but I'm filming the music video for it, and I'm very excited because this is a performance piece. My other videos have been, stories and a little weird. This one is just going to be pretty. It's just going to be me and the piano, and I'm going to wear a dress, which I never wear dresses, so it's going to be fun. Yeah. And then in terms of other things that are coming up in November, on November 11th, I am putting on a little show. I like to kind of do things on my own terms when I do shows. So I rent out the space and I put on the show, and I choose the musicians that attend or that, play alongside me. So I'm putting on a show November 11th in Silver Lake at the Lyric Hyperion Theater. And it's not a very big theater. It's a black box theater. It's like 82 seats, I think. So it's a very intimate setting, and that's what I was hoping for. And I know it'll definitely sell out, and it'll be a fun show. And there's a lovely woman singing, opening the show up. Her name's Lydia Renee, and she's kind of like an India Arie type of an artist. And in my opinion, I'm sure she would describe herself a little differently, but that's part of what I love about her, is that she's got a very soulful kind of jazzy voice. So, and she's amazing. So she's going to open. She also plays piano, so it'll be perfect. And then I'll close the show out, and then we'll all just like have wine and hang out afterwards. So it'll be great.
The after party. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Danielle, we got to wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Nice talking to you, and great listening to your music. We're going to go out on Is It Okay?
Again, I mean, honestly, it was so great talking to you, especially because you're so knowledgeable about just, music and the music business. And you speak my language, man. I like it. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's about all the time we've got for the show today. I want to thank my special guest, Danielle Taylor. Also, thank you to Sara P, Acme Giants, Halie, Loren, and Colin Clyne for their great music. And we're going to end on Is It Okay? By Danielle Taylor.
It's one of those days when it's hot but it rains at the same time. One of those days I pretend that I am but I'm not fine. It's one of those days I couldn't get up if I wanted to. It's all of this weight on me. It's one of those days I look in the mirror, I don't know myself. One of those days I just wanna disappear. It's one of those days when I wanna give up, give in to impossible. I tried to be the hero, but I ended up the fool. Is it okay if I fall apart? Okay if I don't bounce back? I'll be okay, I just need a minute to be by myself. It's one of those days I swear I'm gonna lose it. It's one of those days I just wanna cry. It's one of those days I miss my mom, I miss my dad. I'm looking back on everything I ever had. Is it okay if I fall apart? Okay if I don't bounce back? I'll be okay, I just need a minute to be by myself. Sometimes it feels better all alone. Sometimes it feels better locked away from the world, safe in my home. Is it okay if I fall apart? Okay if I don't bounce back? I'll be okay, I just need a minute to be by myself. Is it okay if I fall apart? Okay if I don't bounce back? I'll be okay, I just need a minute to be by myself. It's one of those days, it's hot but it rains at the same time. It's one of those days, I pretend I am but I'm not fine.